There we go. All right, so
Lab exam.
Wait.
Ultimate dream.
yeah, Chewy's gonna make the grade.
Oh
right?
no.
So
Chewy's gotta get us an A here.
Are you recording it, Sam?
Yeah, can you record it? Your next
No,
time?
but like I have
Oh,
both still.
come on, pressure's on me now. Huh? I'm just trying to get a few things isolated here.
These things right here are the seminal vesicles, correct?
All right,
Then urinary bladder is a little balloon on top.
that's the bladder, and then this is the prostate gland here. All right, so on the male rat, we've cut through the scrotum here. The scrotum holds the testes. And so part of the testes up the top and down at the bottom is the epididymis. So right up here and right down here is the epididymis. The testes actually is where sperm is produced. Epididymis is where it's going to be stored and they mature a little bit. Sperm are going to go up through the vas deferens, up into the body cavity, and then as sperm is going to be secreted through the vas deferens, then some of the seminal fluids are going to be added, and that's what the seminal vesicles add, a part of the semen to. The seminal vesicles then, are going to add their secretions. It doesn't go actually into the bladder, but it kind of goes behind the bladder. And so this is the urinary bladder right here. And then in front of the bladder is the prostate gland. And so that's, the male stuff. So we got testes and epididymis, vas deferens, seminal vesicles. Sometimes they're called the vesicular glands. And then the prostate gland. And then the penis would be, right here. All right. We don't go into detail, but there is another little gland, on the vesicular gland called the coagulating gland, but you don't need to worry about that. So just know seminal vesicle, bladder, prostate's in front, and then vas deferens, epididymis, testes. It's a very good rat, except for up in the heart area where it exploded.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, they could have been trying to inject it and it exploded or something like that, or he smoked 6 packs a day.
He's cooler
He's
that
got
way.
lung cancer.
Probably a smoker.
Yeah, Marlboro. We'll call you Marlboro Man.
His name is Chewy.
Tricky right there.
Chewy. Anything else you guys need?
Can
So
you point
got
out his ureter? Because it seems like his ureters are really behind his renal vein, and it's a little hard to see.
The ureter is this kind of thin thing right here.
one?
It's translucent, yeah. So it comes up here. The renal pelvis is right here, and the renal pelvis empties into the ureter. So you could isolate this out a little bit and see it, but you can kind of see the where it kind of runs down, because you don't have a rat with, a lot of fatty tissue, so it's actually, pretty good. But again, ureter would be something that would be almost impossible to stick a pin in to identify, so it's not one of the top things I'm going to ask, right? So think about what can Feaster stick a pin in that he would, want us to identify. And so, vas deferens is about as, big as a tube that you can kind of stick a pin in, but the ureter is going to be really, really difficult to do it. Okay. So
the
hint,
pancreas?
hint.
Pancreas is this stuff right here.
Yeah, pancreas is there's pancreatic stuff usually associated with the the intestine and the spleen. So here on the spleen you can see some pancreatic tissue, and then up underneath the stomach is all pancreatic stuff. So the pancreas, secretes a lot of the digestive enzymes. So the stomach is more of a holding area for food, a little bit of protein digestion, but these don't have a lot of protein in their diet. And so the pancreatic juices are going to kind of offset the low pH of the stomach contents, and then add a lot of the enzymes to the small intestine for digestion.
Looks like he had to poop.
Yeah, and then the large intestine, these are, fecal pellets here that are starting to form, coming down the colon. And the large intestine has the cecum in it. So the cecum is a place that has a lot of extra bacteria in it to help break down cellulose and stuff like that. So that's kind of the rat. So you got the diaphragm that separates the abdominal cavity from the thoracic cavity, you know, and then you have the heart and the lungs, which are kind of exploded. Trachea, under the tracheas, you know, you'll be able to find the esophagus. You might have to, you know, tease it out there. That should be, you know, right there.
What about the thyroid? Do they have thyroid?
They do have a thyroid. It's usually up, you know, by the
That area.
larynx, but sometimes you don't see it. And then sometimes you'll see a gland up on top of the heart. This thing is called the thymus gland right here. So this is actually can be removed to see the heart a little bit more clearly. And I'm not going to ask you, you know, atrium ventricles and stuff like that. We'll have that in lecture, but just know the heart and the lungs, and don't worry about the atria and the ventricles and stuff like that. I mean, some people actually, you know, make a slice through here to try to see the chambers, but it's you know, not a very good, you know, small heart, you know, small chambers, so it's not, I mean, you can cut it open if you wanted to, but I wouldn't ask you any chambers or anything on the test.
Okay.
So, all right, anything else? Pretty simple, right? So get all the points on the rat.
Yeah.
We even filmed it.
You even filmed it. All right. Multiple films here. Man.